Hello, and welcome to Make a Difference, the show where we shine a spotlight on volunteers and everyday heroes who are making a difference right here in Montgomery County. I'm your host, Florence Jewell. Let us stand together in love, solidarity, and action, because when we unite as one, there is no limit to what we can achieve. This is a quote from Philip Alexander Downey, CEO of Montgomery County Pride Family, MoCo Pride Center, Inc. In this episode, we are in conversation with Philip Alexander Downey to learn how to stand together in love, solidarity, and action, specifically around volunteerism with our LGBT community and its allies in Montgomery County. As the CEO of Montgomery County Pride Family, MoCo Pride Center, Inc., a 501c3 organization designed to serve the LGBTQ, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer community and its allies in Montgomery County, their mission is to organize, support, education, and provide outreach to the LGBT community and its allies. Later in the show, we'll continue our conversation on unity, action, and engagement, and volunteerism with Montgomery County, Maryland first LGBTQ community liaison, Dr. Amina Johnson, who is the go-between the county executive, the LGBTQ plus community, parents, allies, and teachers of LGBTQ plus resident. Let's begin our conversation. Hello, Philip, and welcome to the Make a Difference show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being on the show. Philip, we always start the show by getting to know the person. And I want the audience to get to know you. I've had a chance to talk with you. Let's start with your journey and how you became the CEO of the organization that we're going to be talking about today.
Absolutely. So I started working with the organization in 2018, looking to get involved in Montgomery County's LGBTQIA plus community. I started out temporarily as a board member, and I just wanted to see more programs and action coming from our community. So I galvanized community members together, and we reprised the countywide Pride for Montgomery County, Maryland, which started out as the MoCo Pride Party, but now working with Health and Human Services has evolved into what is now Montgomery County Pride in the Plaza, our annual celebration of community, love, joy, and this year our theme is We Will Not Be Silenced, We Will Not Be Erased, just showing that in times like these that our voices need to stand strong. And so my journey started with the Pride Center, as with a lot of things, with volunteering. And it started out seeing that there was a need that wasn't being met in our community, and working with community partners to ensure that we were able to provide those community-based, culturally competent services that we already have in Montgomery County. So back then, I founded Living Your Truth, which is one of the consortium members of the Montgomery County Pride Family MoCo Pride Center, Inc. today. And then as the executive director of Living Your Truth, I started serving as the board chair for MoCo Pride Center. And then I galvanized what we now have as the consortium, the Montgomery County Pride Family. We all work together to really bring our not just expertise,
Right.
But what we saw from our community's perspectives as a real need for the LGBTQIA plus communities of Montgomery County. And so we came together and we started reaching out to our elected officials in Montgomery County, seeking out real tangible resources so that we can build something sustainable. And then flash to a few years later, we now have the consortium that is the Montgomery County Pride Family and MoCo Pride Center, Inc., where I, after becoming board chair and we got full funding, the board voted me in as the first CEO of the Pride Center.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love the way, like you said, you started out first, volunteering and then the mission and then of course, the outreach into with the county executive and with the council members. So since you've been the CEO of MoCo Pride, tell us about what are some of the priorities that you're working on with the organization in the community itself.
Absolutely. So to increase programming, as well as increasing the services that we already offer, or the services that are already being offered in the community, and just ensuring that folks know that they exist, and then also creating physical infrastructure so that where we have our programming that might be monthly or sometimes weekly, those resources are available every single day. So one of our largest priorities right now is creating and building, in partnership with the county executive's office and our county council, the first physical LGBTQIA plus Pride Center that will be coming to Montgomery County. And so we're opening a space in Bethesda Chevy Chase, which we already have the space. So that's going to be an absolutely a wonderful initiative. We're hoping that space will be open 365 days a year, so that we know that our community members face barriers in almost every measurable wellness category. And so we want to ensure that from housing insecurity resources and food insecurity resources and HIV testing and opioid overdose prevention resources and education, that we are able to provide that linkage to care and wellness that we do at all of our programs, where we work with our amazing HHS in the county, where some people just don't know that these services exist or how to access them. And sometimes it is a matter of this service may not be metro accessible. This service may not be open when I am not working. This service, I have mobility issues, and so I might not be able to go in person to get something, but I really need to speak with someone in person. And so we're here to meet community members exactly where they are and provide not only dynamic community programs and actual affirming safe spaces for community members to gather, but then also a hub and a resource center that will feature an inclusive books library where people can come in after school, that has a quiet space for you to do work, or a lounge where you can commune with friends, and then also lots of programming space where folks can rent out a room to have a special event or something like that.
Wow, I mean, you've got a lot going. I love the fact that you're building this physical location where they can come together and they can get the resources and the availability being open beyond the 8 to 5 hours, and having the community involved. Now, in terms of that, what you're doing, I know you need support and you need help, and so one of the things I wanted to get from this conversation is, how can we enhance what you're doing? When I say we, I mean, again, the entire community here, in terms of, we've got a lot of volunteers who really lash on to the mission of your organization, and they really want to make a difference. So what are some of the things that we can do to help bring that to fruition and beyond?
Absolutely. So, of course, volunteering, getting involved, reaching out to not only just our consortium members, which the Montgomery County Pride family consists of Living Your Truth, Trans Maryland, Maryland Trans Unity, Poolsville Pride, the Coalition for Inclusive Schools and Communities, Drag Story Hour, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and I know that I'm missing one, so someone's going to be a little bit mad at me. But you can visit mocopridecenter.org to find all of our consortium members. But there's literally someone for everyone, a place in our vast Montgomery County community where folks can volunteer and get involved. And so that's one way. And we have a host of volunteer opportunities where we, of course, need legal support for our name and document our document change clinics and things like that. We also, and expungement clinics and so on and so forth. We also need peer-to-peer facilitators for our support groups. We need program volunteers, and then volunteers who will be at our physical Pride Center locations, who are there as a friendly face on the ground. And then what I always tell people is that even if you can't volunteer and get involved, that like you being a safe space wherever you you are, wherever you go, is the most important thing that you can do. Allowing yourself to not only not just be an ally, but to be a co-conspirator of LGBTQIA plus people. We need folks who are willing to stand side by side, not just like I say stand side by side, sit side by side, to be in community with us to ensure that that where our community members are very vulnerable, especially at in our very tumultuous political climate, where trans and gender expansive communities, where our Black and brown folks, especially our queer LGBTQIA plus folks, are under attack, that we need to ensure that there are allies who are there for all of our community members. And so being a safe space at home, at the grocery store, wherever you go, is vitally important to everyone.
Well, Philip, you have given us so much information and a lot to unpack, but unfortunately we're running out of time. So before we wrap up, is there one thing that you would like to say beyond what you have said to us in terms of getting us involved at this tumultuous time that we're living in, and in terms of protecting our LGBT community members?
Yes, I mean, of course, we can't, like, if one of us are not safe, then all of us aren't safe. And so ensuring that, like I said, wherever you go, wherever you are, whether it's at home, you're ensuring that you are creating safe environments. And if you ever see someone that might be under attack, or like that the negative rhetoric is being hurled at them, then that we are a line of defense, whereas, and we are giving voices for some of the voiceless.
Thank you, Philip. It has truly been a pleasure to have you on our show, and we look forward to making a difference with you in Montgomery County.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Stay with us. When we return, more conversation with Montgomery County First LGBTQ Community Liaison Advisor, Dr. Amina Johnson.
Gilchrist Immigrant Resource Center is part of the Office of Community Partnerships with Montgomery County, Maryland. It serves anyone living in Montgomery County with a focus on immigrants' needs. Do you need to find help but don't know where to start or who to ask? You can either call the Gilchrist Center or visit any of the Gilchrist Center's 3 sites in Wheaton, Gaithersburg, and East County. Our staff will help you find programs and services available for you. For example, we can help you identify organizations that provide assistance with employment, healthcare, legal needs, housing, financial needs, and more. You can also find that information on our website. Today, let's focus on the Crisis Services section of the website. In this section, you will find hotlines and organizations that provide assistance in case of crisis. The website lists national and local hotlines that address needs such as suicide prevention, human trafficking, domestic violence, substance abuse, housing emergencies, mental health, immigration, and many other crisis situations. Our website is easy to navigate and can be translated into more than 200 languages. You can find our website at www.montgomerycountymd.gov/Gilchrist. If you'd prefer to talk to someone live, you can call our information and referral line at 240-777-4940, open between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. from Monday to Friday, or you can visit us in person. Our staff are bilingual and have access to interpretation services. In addition, the Gilchrist Center also offers free English, basic computer, and citizenship preparation classes. Our classes are open to people living in Montgomery County, Maryland, ages 18 and older. Some of our classes require you to purchase a book. For more information, please call the Gilchrist Immigrant Resource Center or visit our website.
Welcome back to Make a Difference. I'm your host, Florence Jewell, and in this segment, we continue our conversation with Dr. Amina Johnson on the LGBTQ community issues along with solutions for unity, action, and engagement by the entire Montgomery County community. Dr. Johnson, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Florence. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so glad to have you here. I would like to start the show always getting to know the person. So tell us about your journey to your position as the liaison for the county.
Sure. So I began working with the county in January of 2021. So we were still pretty thick in the pandemic during that time. And I came from Georgetown University, where I was the director of the LGBTQ Center there. And it's interesting starting during the pandemic because I was working, of course, doing LGBTQ things, but I was also, trying to help people get vaccinated. And so, it's a great example of how the work that we do in service of the community is about all the community, not just, the one community that we're assigned to.
Absolutely. And also, I'm a Georgetown alumni.
Oh, wonderful.
And as you said, it's about the entire community and the services that you're doing. Tell us about some of the priorities that you are working on, and then how you take that back to the county executive.
Sure. So one of my duties as LGBTQ liaison is to have an LGBTQ advisory group. So the advisory group meets once a month. It's the third Monday, I believe. I'm not looking at the calendar. In the evening. And so, any issues and that sort of thing that come up during that, of course, we take that back to the county executive and his staff. But we also have done an LGBTQ survey. We did it in 2023. We're hoping to do it again this year. But in that survey, we were able to get some good information from LGBTQ residents in the county. For example, really good, about 75% of LGBTQ residents feel like Montgomery County is a safe place to be out and be open. But with that, to counterbalance that, about 45% of people say that they have been harassed or, bullied, and about 25% of those folks said in public. So we've still got some work to do. People feel safe on the whole, but there are certain places within the county and spaces where people don't feel safe. So we take that information back as well.
Were you able to dissect? I mean, this is great information. I love stats. So in that area where you're trying to improve, were you able to identify specific solutions to the county executive on how we can improve in where we need to?
Sure.
And if you could talk about
Yeah,
that.
sure. So we actually did ask some open-ended questions of the folks that took the survey. And, they said, a lot more advertising of LGBTQ events, a center, which I know Philip talked about. There is a center coming. So, that information helped to all the folks that took the survey. Thank you. That information helped. One of the things, though, that I did discover during that survey, and it's going to make me do some changes in the next one, is we weren't finding out a lot about services to LGBTQ people. So this next survey won't be to the community necessarily. It'll be to the services that we have in Montgomery County, asking them how they serve LGBTQ people. That seemed to be the big gap that, we didn't get from that survey. So we want to know who is serving LGBTQ people, how are they serving, what is their experience like in these organizations that they're being served in, and that would really help us know where the gaps are.
Okay. And then in terms, I want to unpack what you just said a little bit about, advertising. So anything coming up that you want to advertise, and then tied to that advertising and outreach, how we can enhance getting information on these services from the organizations who attend these events?
Sure. One of my priorities is to work with LGBTQ seniors and issues about LGBTQ seniors as in 50 plus older adults. And I'm talking to grandparents about LGBTQ people, how they can be allies to their LGBTQ grandchildren or their LGBTQ children, the younger people in their lives. We did this back in March, and it was a great success. And so we're gonna do it again. So that's one of the events that is coming up on May 30th. The Pride Center will be having their flag raising at Veterans Plaza, and then on June 3rd, I believe, the county council and the county executive will have a flag raising as well. So they'll be raising the pride flag.
Okay, and talk to us about this, raising the flag. I know it symbolizes the county and what we're doing in the LGBT community, but there's something more to when you are displaying that flag. And I want you to talk a little bit more about
So, of course, the flag we're displaying, and the one we're displaying it's called the Progress flag. So it has your general, rainbow colors that we're used to seeing with LGBTQ folks, as well as symbols for trans folks and other folks within the LGBTQ community. And raising that flag, if you got speakers and that sort of thing, but that flag stays there the whole month in 2 places in the county. Veterans Plaza, which everyone knows lots of people come in and out of there every day, as well as right behind here in the executive office building.
Okay.
And it shows to people driving by, walking by, passing by, that this community supports LGBTQ people. But more importantly, it says that the county, we want to be a safe place for LGBTQ people.
Wonderful. I love the way you said we want to be a safe place. We are a safe place. Now, we keep saying LGBTQ, but there's also the acronym LGBTQIA. Talk to us about what the acronyms are moving towards.
So the acronym that lots of people are familiar with is LGBTQ, which is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and the Q actually stands for queer and questioning. And a lot of people might think queer is a derogatory term. It absolutely can be, but it's a reclaimed term within the LGBTQ community, and it's kind of an umbrella term. It could be somebody talking about their sexual orientation or their gender identity. You have to ask the person what queer means to them. And then a lot of people see the IA and then plus at the end.
Absolutely.
I stands for intersex. Intersex are folks that are born with characteristics of both maleness and femaleness. And the A is for asexual. And those are folks who might not have like a sexual attraction to other people, but they might have romantic and other types of attractions. And the plus is to be inclusive of everyone.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. Now, you had talked about the community involvement and, grandparents getting involved. You're working on the 50 plus. What about, the 18 to 49 year and the teens? Talk a little bit about how you are reaching out in that community.
Sure. I mean, I think, it's for teens like in high school.
Yeah.
Montgomery County MCPS has wonderful programs. They even have an LGBTQ, I think, history class that students can take and that sort of thing. So those are things that are going on for teenagers. For the, younger folks, 18 to 49, I know that the Pride Center has lots of programs going on. Trans Maryland, which I heard Philip mentioned, has a support group where they have, trans folks, and it meets online, so that's really good. We actually have a hope and support circle. I forgot to mention that every Thursday we meet on Zoom. Folks can contact me for that. We meet on Zoom, and it's based around joy. We definitely can have the hard conversations, but mostly we just talk about what we're watching, what we're doing. We saw some short films and all that sort of thing. So those are the types of things that folks can do around the county.
Wonderful. And how can we volunteer and help you? I know you mentioned several events on Zoom, and then we're going to have the physical location. But as the liaison for the county, and you have the advisory group, how can we participate and work and contribute there?
So as the liaison, you can volunteer by being a part of the advisory group. That is a volunteer position, but you can most certainly volunteer to do that. I would also encourage you to volunteer with the Montgomery County Pride family. They've got Trans Maryland, they've got the Montgomery Pride Center, they've got Poolesville Pride, all of these things. They've got the Queer Prom that's coming up. I think it's this weekend. You can volunteer for that, and that's lots of fun. So there's lots of opportunities, but if you go to, there's a page called MontgomeryCountyPride.org.
Okay.
And you can go there and find all these organizations that are doing this work, and you can find volunteer opportunities there. And then there is Pride in the Plaza, and Pride in the Plaza takes place on June 29th at Veterans Plaza. The Moco Pride Center is the lead. There'll be drag queens and shows and lots of vendors and food. If folks want to volunteer, they can reach out to the Montgomery Pride family or the Moco Pride Center, and there's lots of volunteering. It'll be hot. Bring your water. But that's the big thing that we've got going on in June.
And we want to put it on the Volunteer Center website
Yes.
as well.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And the one thing that you've taught me that I want to say, in addition to the events coming up, Pride is 365.
Yep, absolutely. So, even in October is LGBTQ History Month. And so there will be some events going on there. A lot of times that's in schools. But we try to put out something. I try to put out something to the general public to know LGBTQ people have always been here throughout history, and lots of events coming up. Look out for the survey. Yeah.
Now, with the time that we have left, this has been a really great conversation. What would you like to say and leave with their audience,
I think I'd like to say you don't have to understand someone's identity fully to accept them, right?
Absolutely.
Learning, we never stop learning, right?
Absolutely.
And I think in these times, it's really important for LGBTQ people to know that they're accepted and that they're loved. A full focus of understanding can come later, but acceptance should always be there.
Absolutely. It all begins with humanity.
Yep.
Well, Dr. Johnson, I have really enjoyed this conversation with you, and thank you so much for this information. And we will be reaching out and posting your information on our site so that people can join and get on board with what you're doing.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. That's it for this episode of Make a Difference. I would like to thank our guests, Philip Alexander Downey and Dr. Amina Johnson, our CCM production team, and you, our audience. I'm your host, Florence Jewell. Remember, change starts with you. If you would like to volunteer, contact the Montgomery County Volunteer Center at 240-777-2600 or visit our website. Until next time, let's be inspired, involved, and be sure to make a difference.